What's up, everybody, and welcome to the CCAC Heart Under the Hoodie Drumline. Um, Glad you all could make it today. Thanks so much for taking the time out to come rock with us and wanting to be a part of something major, something monumental. Um, I am Tierra Waters, otherwise known as Mr. T or Coach T. Okay, and I will be the drum instructor for this particular class. In this class, we are going to learn basically all of the ins and outs of drum lines, everything from how you're supposed to stand and posture in regards to when you're lining up for a battle, and of course, we are going to learn how to play. Okay. Um, Before going into everything, I just want to go over some brief, not ground rules, but brief things that you may need. So the first thing that I would say that you would need or make sure that you want to have in your possession are some drumsticks. All right, preferably marching drumsticks. You can get something like these. All right, Vic Firth is the brand. All right, Vic Firth, VICFIRTH, and the brand is also known as the Ralph Hardiman Marching Stick. Okay, it's about maybe $10. You can get it online, GuitarCenter.com, Sweetwater.com, American Musical Supply, basically any website. If the stores are open, you might be able to grab something at Accent Music in Newport, and or Guitar Center, which is up 202 in Wilmington. But you want to try to make sure that you get a pair of marching drumsticks. Okay. The next thing that you are going to need for the time being, while we're home, is a drum pad. Okay. It doesn't have to be as big as mine. This is a Sound Percussion Labs drum pad. I think mine was about $30, but they have some small ones. You have Remo drum pads, which you can buy. You have smaller Sound Percussion Labs. Um, there's a drum company by the name of Vader. There's several drum pads that you can buy, and the prices range. I think the lowest you might find one is maybe for about $15, and the highest you might spend is maybe 100 or a couple hundred, depending on the manufacturer and what it is that you want. Okay, so those are two of the main things that you need. Now, in our class, we have snare drummers, we have tenor drummers or quads. Okay, we have another section of tenor drummers, which is one drum by itself, and then we have bass drummers. Okay, so there's four different sections. All right, and we'll be going over different parts of the music and how it all lines up and how it comes together and how it sounds. Okay, um, what I will do for you guys is send you out a cadence, so that way you understand how everything is supposed to sound. A cadence is also known as a beat. Okay, so we'll go into that. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to talk about today, when it comes to drumline, is the way that we play. So there's different techniques that people use when it comes to playing. Okay, you have your match grip, which everybody is holding the sticks this way, and you approach the drum here. And then you have traditional grip, where you take your left hand, okay, and you put it in a very weird, fancy, almost like you're eating. It's a weird position, but you basically take the stick in your left hand, you let it rest in the fulcrum of your hand, and the stick goes in between your ring and middle finger. Okay? Okay? Stick rests there, your left hand is sideways, and you play like so. Okay, for this class, we will be mainly using traditional grip, especially if you're on the snare. If you're on the snare drum, you'll be using traditional grip. If you're on the quads or tenor, you'll be using match grip. Okay, and if you're on the bass drum, It's the same thing as match. It's just your sideways match because your bass drum is going to be right in front of you. So you'll be playing basically onto sides like this. Okay. Now, you don't have to do that with your drum pad because of course your drum pad is not going to stay like this. But once we get back to the drums, you'll see the bass drum is going to be this way in front of you, and you're going to hit this way. Okay. Now, before we go into any battle or any cadence or anything, the first thing that we always do at Drumline is warm up. Okay. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go over the warm up. All right. Sorry that the first class is kind of boring, but we'll get into more and more important things as we go along. So the warm up, okay, is known as 8 on hand, or you can call it crazy eights, either one. What it is a group of it's a group of eighth notes repeated. 8 on your right hand, 8 on your left hand, okay? Eighth notes. I want to show you guys by hand first before going into the actual music connotation of it, okay? So the way you count it is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, okay? So warm up. Hear the tempo? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you play the notes, it'll sound like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's how I'm counting it. Okay. So again, this is the warm up. All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, play. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 stop. Okay, that's the warm up. Okay. And we will do that several times. The reason why we warm up is we want to get the blood flowing in our hands and in our wrists. Because when you play for a long time, what happens is if you don't warm up, you don't really stretch and get your muscles moving, then you tighten up. So your forearms will be really, really tight, and it makes it hard for you to play, when your forearms and your wrists are really tight. So you warm up, okay, to get that action, to get that moving action in your wrist and your arms, okay? So that way you can be fluid when you play, all right? So again, we're going back to warm up, which is a group of eighth notes, okay? Crazy eights, okay? Before we get started, before we start playing the crazy eights, what you'll always hear Coach T or the captain of the Drumline do is a tap off, okay? So here's a tap off really quick. All right, that lets you know that we're about to start playing, okay? So you'll hear tap it off, whoever the captain is. They say, okay, Mr. T. All right, that means we're starting. Right after that is when everybody comes in with their part. All right, so I'm going to tap it off and play the warm up. Here we go. Tap off. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and stop. Okay, so that's your warm up. Okay, eventually we'll get to the point where we could do it fast or extremely slow. All right, whatever the tap off is. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 So again, that's 8 on hand, and we practice that and we focus on those particular warm ups. So that way, again, we can get our hands, get our wrist, get the blood flowing, so that way we can really be ready to play lickety split. We'll get into that. All right. So I'll go over some more basics. All right. Oh, excuse me. Let me go over the warm up for everybody else. So, quads. What you guys will see, quads are tenor drummers. What you guys will see once we see the drums is, how your drum is made. So, snare, practicing on a pad like this is perfect because this is basically what your drum will be. Your drum will be right in front of you. You got one drum, and you'll play all day. Quads, on the other hand, you guys have, technically speaking, your 4 basic drums: drum 1, drum 2, drum 3, and drum 4. Okay? Those are the 4 drums that you have. If you have something fancy, you may have drum 5 in the middle. You might have drum 5 and drum 6 in the middle. Okay? Depending on how fancy, your actual drum is. But let's just keep it with the 4 for now. 4 drums, okay, known as the quad. All right? And a lot of times what you'll do is you'll play your notes on each different drum. All right. So for the warm up, you guys will be playing again in match grip. All right. Both sticks like this. All right. Not traditional, like this. Okay. And how your warm up will go is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's on drum 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Drum 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Drum 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and drum 4. So basically you're playing a group of 8 notes on each drum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and stop. Alright? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 stop. Alright? So that's basically how you guys play. Now, small detail when it comes to the quads. If you don't have a set of quads at home, if you're like Mr. T, you don't. So with that being said, what I would do is I would literally set up 4 different books or 4 pillows and set them like they're a quad. Drum 1, drum 2, drum 3, drum 4. Okay? Almost in like a trapezoid formation. Okay? And that would be how I would practice playing the quad, with not having quads at home. And it's effective, You get inventive, you get creative, you do what will help you grow. Okay? So, quads. Try to get 4 books if you can. 4 paper plates, 4 pillows, basically something to indicate a different drum. Okay? Now, bass drums, same deal here. Okay? When you have your actual drum, again, it'll be sideways. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? Bass drums. Another thing that I've done in the past when I was a kid to get creative, I would take an old book bag and put a pillow in that book bag. Okay? And I would literally walk around the house with the book bag on backwards. Okay? I'll tell you. Just like this. I'd walk around with the book bag on backwards and literally play the bass drum. Okay? Now, I'm not telling you that's what you have to do, but there are different ways that you can get creative when it comes to practicing your drum. Okay? So, everybody, in retrospect, you'll be playing 8 on each hand. 8 on hand, crazy 8s. Okay? Group of 8 notes on each hand. And again, you'll gradually get faster. Of course, we can get slower and all of that. Okay? Now, in regards to how we execute these, one of the things I'm big on when it comes to how we play is technique. So I want you guys to really put some energy into learning the actual technique of how to play your drum. All right. So um, I'll try to include some YouTube links. All right. But there's something called a molar technique. All right. Which is basically the whipping of the stick to execute a hit on your drum. Mr. T, why is technique important? Technique is important because if you don't play properly, you can risk injury. Okay. Also, you won't be able to get as much notes out by playing the wrong way. Okay. So, one of the things that I'm really big on when it comes to playing is wrist action. All right. You see how flimsy my wrist can be? All right. It's not really natural for a lot of people to be able to just, you know what I mean? And that's important as a drummer because you have to be fluid. If you play like this, no wrist, you won't get your notes out. All right. For example, we're gonna play a really quick drum roll, okay, using my wrist instead of using my wrist and fingers instead of using my arm directly. All right. So here's how a drum roll will be. All right. That's a double stroke roll. I even do a single stroke roll. All right. So that was a single stroke and a double stroke. All right. Roll. All right. We'll get into that in short. Double stroke roll because it's diddles on each hand. Single stroke roll because it's literally one stroke on each. Now, that's me playing using my wrist. All right. Let's try this without using wrist and just straight arm. It's really hard to even play like this, but let's try it. Mind you, that's my double. You see how my wrist is not moving at all? All arms. Let's try a single stroke. See, very muddy, very cluttered, not a very clean sound. So going back to technique, it's important to use your molar technique, okay, which is whipping the stick up and down, all right, to get that fluid motion when you play, okay? So I'm just going to show you really quick. If I'm to the side and my hand's here, you want to practice getting your arm up and bring your stick back down, okay? Now with the molar technique, the good thing is you can get a little boost with it. So you can, okay? And this kind of helps give you more energy and force behind your hit. This could be the difference between and, okay? All right, that's the difference. So, boom, 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 okay? Hands here, turn my wrist up, okay? And I'm not gripping the stick with death grip. I'm using the stick right here, okay? Portion of my thumb and part of my index finger, okay? For traditional snare players, all right? Left hand, same thing, all right? Boom, 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 boom. You are turning your wrist, all right? Instead of moving your arm up and down. This gets tiring after a while. It's like you're doing a bunch of curls and you're lifting weights here. That gets really tiring. You want to use your wrist and turn your wrist, okay? Instead of just, all right? For example, let's do 8 on hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and look at my wrist. Look at my wrist. Look at my wrist. I'm turning, okay? Versus using my arm. This looks like it hurts and it feels awkward. So you want to make sure, again, that you guys are using the techniques to make sure that you're playing correctly and that you're not hurting yourself, okay? Same thing with the quads, all right? 1, all right? All right, again, I'm using my wrist both ways, all right? I'm not, no hammer drumming. All right. Basses, same thing. You're drumming sideways. Use your wrists when playing. Now, you guys, the difference between you and everybody else is you will play with a little bit of arm just to get that strength, and we'll go over something called the whip, or yeah, basically the whip when you play. All right, or creating the D is another one. Boom, boom, boom. All right, it's a up, out, circular. Bring it in. All right, we'll go over that, but mainly you want to use your actual wrist when playing. All right, okay. Motor technique. All right, now um, moving a little bit further here, and hopefully we're covering a lot, is interchangeable playing. And when I say that, um, with the quads, with everybody online, quads, snares, basses, you want to be able to alternate your hands. All right. All right. So basically, I'm just right now. I just did a few eighth notes. Okay, but instead of 8 on this hand, 8 on this hand, I'm interchanging them. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Boom. Okay. Um, Mr. T, why do we need to learn that? The reason why we need to learn that is because once you start playing, that's also going to be known as a check pattern. Okay, check pattern is basically what keeps the beat going. All right, so let's say you have, your main tempo. Tempo is the speed at which you're going, which you're playing. All right, and the tempo's here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your check pattern, 9 times out of 10, is going to be in the form of what we call 16th notes. 1 E and a. All right, 1 E and a. One more time. 1 E and a. All right, those are your 16th notes. Okay, so now I'll just play a set of eighth notes really quick to see how it will sound in tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go. All right, now I'm going to do it in 16th note form, which is really hard to do if you try to do it on each hand. That's hard to do. No, you want to make sure that you are, again, playing and alternating your hands. All right, so 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and a stop. Okay, that's how most of your playing is going to be, as a snare drummer and as a quad drummer, and even as a bass sometimes, because you guys will do splits and it'll be running up and down the line. All right, we'll get into all of this lingo. I know I'm saying we'll get into all this lingo so you know exactly what I mean. All right, now check patterns. All right, you'll have accents as well. All right, accent on beat 2, accent on beat 4. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You put your check pattern, you'll see it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a stop. Okay, that's the main basis of how you guys will play. Again, the only way that's going to be clean and sound good is if you utilize your technique. All right, using your wrist, because it's going to sound crazy again if you try to strong arm it. You 1 E and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2. It's going to take a lot of energy. You're going to end up hurting yourself. All right, so you want to make sure that you put the effort into those. All right. when we were learning, we had a few cadences. All right, CC2 being one of those. We had CC3. I believe we had CC4. Okay, that's about as far as we've got in regards to playing. So what I will do is I will link the cadences so that you can hear them on YouTube. All right, I will link how they sound. All right, and I want you guys to do your best to interpret what your drum might be and what your drum might sound like. Okay, all right. I'm going to briefly demo CC2. All right, and um, yeah, I'm going to briefly demo it really quick. Hold on for a second. Okay, I'm back. So here is how CC2 sounds. All right, it's a little fast, but I'll play it so that you can hear. Okay, here we go. Basses. All right, so the part I just did, even just playing when I was using my hands, is basically the bass part. Okay. Again, this is CC2 that we're listening to. All right. I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play the quad part this time. Here we go. Now, during this part, we normally would be marching, but we're home right now, so here we go. All right, that's the quad part. I'll just try to slow that down. All right, 1 and 2 and 1 knee and a 2 E and a 1 and 2 and 1 knee and a 2 E and a. Okay, that's the quad part. Let's go back one more time for the snares, and let's get it. Hey, here we go. Okay. So that is CC2, and that's all we'll go over for today. All right. So some takeaways again. Okay. And what we'll do for the second part of this class is you can show me what it is that you've picked up. All right. So we've gone over what you need in terms of materials. All right. Drumsticks, Vic Firth, Ralph Hardiman. All right. We're going over drum pad. Okay. I have a Sound Percussion Labs drum pad, one of the cheapest ones you can get. You can go and get whatever it is that you need. All right. We've talked about eighth notes. Okay, 8 on hand, 8 on your right. We've talked about 16th notes, 1 E ender, 2 E ender, 3 E ender, 4 E ender, also known as your check pattern. Okay, we talked about the motor technique, using your wrists when you play, okay, and not strong arming it, okay. And we've also, and again, I might have covered this, but we went over CC2, okay. Um, Again, quad players, try to get 4 books just to give yourself kind of like that module. And I'll show you, some more things in terms of how you can try to set up to where you have a quad. But 4 books, 4 plates, I don't know, 4 pillows, anything that you can use to kind of give yourself that model. All right. And, use it to the fullest. Use your imagination, get creative and make it work for you. Thank you for joining today's class for Heart Under the Hood's Drumline. And lastly, the last little treat I'll give you is when we are at Drumline and we go out performing and things of that nature, we have our calls. So you'll hear me say, Drumline, attention. You guys repeat, CCAC. All right. Drumline, attention, CCAC. All right. A little bit of morale for you guys. Okay. So, see you soon. I'll see y'all next class and talk to y'all. Thank you.